how do we create adapter module in SAP PI, which is obviously sometimes a bit challenging because, well, you can see some of the code, but what are the other things that you need to do to get this working? So I'll try to make an example of this. Let's see if we get it working and what are the different ideas that I will be missing. So let's see how far we can get with this purpose. So to do that, I will need to just change screen. Cam. Good. So how do we create an adapter module? And the place we want to start is, so I know some would just create it as enterprise beans separately, but obviously that's not ideal if you want to deploy it in an SAP connection. So the best places you want to create this is into your development infrastructure. If you don't have that, the second next place is your local development component, as we have here on the screen, which gives you a local place where you can develop these software components, and then later you would be able to deploy them. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a new software component, and you may want to say this is just a FIGAF modules. Can remove vendor is figaf.com. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. So now it will create us a new software component version. And here it's normally creating a standard one. We don't want this one, so we just say delete. Then we will create a new one. This one will be the EJB. So we will create it here. PI modules, EJB. This is okay, we just say finish. And then we want to create a way to deploy this. So we will create a new development component, enterprise application. So this is PI modules here. And here it says, hey, reference a project, we want to do that. Then we need another thing, we need to set up what are our dependencies we want for this project. And so this is what are the standard codes that we want to use. And I think this is API. PI. Just get it here. Yeah, so this is the AIA. So we got some of these different facade here that we want to use, mapping, and then so good. We want to add the logging API. So maybe you can use both of these, I don't know. I'll normally just be using this one. And we need to add some of these also to the. No, we don't need to. So sometime when you're adding this to the EA module, you also need to add them, EDB, you also need to add them to the Bean, the Enterprise Archive. So let's close all windows. And we need to close this one also. So now we have created, and it should be possible to start our development. We just want to make sure that we got projects for these two, otherwise we are not getting that far. So we want to say sync, create projects. They have already been created, I would imagine them. So we got them here. And here I actually got a sample module code. No, this is a methods mapping. Good. So right now we want to create the Bean for this. So this was not the one I wanted. So let me just get the code over here. Okay, so we want to create a new class. We will call this dynamic properties module. And we want to place this somewhere. PI module. Demo. And it needs to have a superclass that is called module. Is it an interface? Yes, we got a module here. And so that one's good. And serializable is also a good thing to add. Constructor for main thing. Good. Then we need some annotations. So it adds all of these for us, and I would imagine we needed somewhere to put this. And then we need to get some of these different objects around it. So if you are in Facebook and have any questions, then let us know. Right now we're just trying to create a new module from scratch, see how much we can get done here in this time. It's obviously a little fun to see what we can get to do. So let's just try it like this. And then we want to put up this one up here. And we want to import all of these. I will put this into the video text or the blog around this. Also, once once we're done with it. So you'll be able to get the code and try it yourself. So where did you add those? Module home. Oh. And we just need this one. It's not in here? Oh. just try to delete that. So right now we have created an empty module that's not really doing anything, and this will get this data, and we got a context, and then we will, at the end, we want to return this input module data. So this is actually the standard demo module that you want to create that is able to do something, not that much, but get some data that you can share with users. So hope this makes sense. Otherwise, do put a comment if it's going too fast or we need to cover it a little more slow. Good. So we should then be able to deploy this, but we just want to have our logger also working. And so we want to create a private static final location. And here we will use this one. Class. So the first thing we want to do is from the input module data, we want to get the printable data, and we can cast this to a message. So this is normally a message. Message. And then I guess this is the right one. That's right. And we want to create a local variable for this also. So with this, we can get the attachment from here. We can get the payload or create new payload files. Say get attachment or get payload. Get main payload. This will get the main payload as a payload. We can get input stream, and then we can pass this input stream. One thing we want to do is from the message get message key. Message key is used for adding locking entries. So there is a public API access factory that's called, and then we want to get the public API access. And from this we can get public. Let's just try it like this. Well, let me just get it from here. So we want to take this. Let's try it like this. Create field for audit. And then we got our key. and then we have this one. So, and then we will take the dynamic property module called, and we just want to put in lots of try catches on this. Obviously that's probably not the ideal way to do this. Put a try catch around everything. So you may want to consider how you're adding it and using it. Oh. Good. So now we have everything. We can then deploy it. I've set up my system to deploy on the server. So we have so it builds and then deployed. Then I guess the first thing just to verify that it's there. So we want to check the system here. There's this enterprise Java B. And here we can then see if this module has been deployed. We can see there's a module here. So that's a good thing. We can see it works. Then the next thing I just want to check is JNDI of this. So just verifying that we got dynamic property module. So right now we're just checking if our new module, how we can access this and if we can access it. So that was wrong spelled. So we should have something that is called in our object naming, which means we have to set it up correctly, and I'm missing something in our EDB. Yeah. So we have deployed our bean, but we have not set up any naming for it. So we need to go into this one, EDB naming. And here we want to create enterprise bean template. So an enterprise bean template, here we have the name of this, and the name would then be this module here up here. And the JNDI name, we can use the same, or we can use something else. So the JNDI name you would see in the message. Oh, that beans, enterprise beans, enterprise bean. Isn't this correct? Format. Enterprise bean. Enterprise bean, enterprise bean. Sometimes it can just be a little bitchy about what it has. So let's try to deploy it again. And the reason why you want to test this if it's in the JNDI is because if it's not here, you will probably get an error, or you will get an error when you're trying to call the module that there's no module called this. Okay, so I just completed this project. about creating the module. So there was a few things I just wanted to share with you. So now you can see the screen, which is good. So one of the things so when I went in here in the browser and searched for stop, there's this application, so I can see the bean was deployed, but when I looked at this module, it was not started. Then I clicked here, view logs, and I could then see that there was some, if we scroll down here, there was some logs here when we're trying to deploy it, that there was some missing dependencies, so it was missing these classes. So I had to, I think it was here, I had to ensure that they were selected. So I had to go in here and select them, that it should use those. And I also, just for security's sake, also added the the APIs down here, so we got all of those information. Then, as you saw, yeah, I had this one just to point what are the modules we want to run this in. We got the process here, the simple one. And I just changed it to session bean, implemented all the unused methods, or all implemented messages, and then in my configuration, in my adapter, I could then add this new module. Obviously, I cannot use any of the templates as you would have for this one, because these are coming from the SAP side, coming with the tool, and you need to use it for that. So you can save it, add it, and then when I run the interface, the message monitoring, we can then see here the logging. We can see this module was called. So that is the log message that we are creating right here. So we're saying the module is called with success. And then we're adding this new file demo dynamic attributes. And we can see that in here in attributes. And there we can see this new one we have added. And then to export the data, and you can play around with it, I'll just be using this one. So here I'll say create build there. On the software component version, I'll say export, select all, includes and then we got a file here that I'll then be able to upload together with this component. So I do hope that this has been helpful and something you would like to see. So you just import this, and then you can play around with it and improve it as much as you like. Thanks for watching. Bye.